Hello friends, it's Julie Norman, and today we're doing a planner video again. Today we're going to talk about the difference between daily and weekly planning. And the reason why we're going to do that is because I have been a long time daily planner, and I'm finding I'm going to the weekly. So I thought I'd tell you why and what are the pros and cons of each. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Julie Norman, and I put out videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. So let's first of all look at daily, because that's what I was doing. You can purchase planners that have the day format already made up for you, and maybe they'll have time spots for you, such as the hours of the day and little goals and focus and things like that on your days. I have always just done a blank journal. So here's an example of one of my day. This was last year, and I just used blank. I would just give myself my love note for the day, what I needed to do, and a little bit of journaling, and then if I had some appointments and things that I had to do. So it's basically your setup, the focus, what I'm focusing on, what I need to do, and then memory keeping. Sometimes it would be more. Here I had more spot, and I didn't predate them. I only planned them out like a day or two in advance. So I was also using a monthly calendar so I knew what was coming up. And there were times when I just went off and journaled. Like I have lots of dreams, so I journal my dreams. It's very flexible, so I would just turn the page and there it is. And then, because I like to be a little linear, sequential, so I like to have all of this happened by date. The cons, the drawbacks of doing a daily planner. One is it takes a lot of time. Because every day you're going to have to write out something, and sometimes you're writing the same thing out every day, which is when my Love Notes planning method, you basically write the same note. That can be good and bad. You can do affirmations, such as I always start with good morning beloved, and a little note to myself, and then the to-do. So the drawback is it takes a little time to set it up every day. I mean, not everybody has that time. So number two, you will probably have to have multiple books for your year. Now, when I was doing this in the beginning, the person who I was following says you use 2 pages per day and 1 page for each weekday. That is a lot of paper. You're going to be carrying around more paper with you if you're going to do a whole year's worth. And oftentimes they break it up into a month or a quarter or half a year. I think Erin Condren does something like that. So you're going to have to switch from books to books with this, which can, that's a con. So number 3 is there can be a lot of wasted space because you've set aside like two pages. See right here, I didn't use it all up. 2 pages per each day. And only one for the week. You can have a lot of wasted space. I have this whole wasted space here. This is someone's phone number I'm covering up. But look at all this wasted space. And if you have, like, these were expensive journals. These are like $20 or to $24 each. That's a lot of money down the drain. So those are the 3 drawbacks to daily. Now the 3 good things is a daily planner can be really good for a work planner. So if you're juggling between home life and work life, you have a lot more space to write out. If you're using 2 pages, here, let me get a 2-page spread. If you're using 2 pages, there's a lot more space to write out your personal life, and then also the things you have to do at work too. And that can also be good for if you have a full schedule where you need to remember to pick up kids at a certain time, you have practices, you have lessons, you have dog appointments, whatever. You need to write that out and make sure you have all your everything together. That kind of goes with number 2, is you have more space to plan. And number 3 is also to do with the space, is that you have space to journal and to do memory keeping more than a weekly spread. Not to say you can't do it with a weekly, but there's a lot more space to do that. And I'll show you. So here it was an extra journaling. I actually took 2 more pages to journal what was going on. Here I was figuring out what I needed for planner books. So there's places to do journaling, working things out on paper, and to have it included inside your planning. So that is all about daily. Okay, let's look at the weekly. And again, with the weekly, when I do weekly, I made my own up. This is my planner. It's a traveler's notebook. But I made up my own pages here. So this is my weekly spread. I have them Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and a little spot to put some goals and things. And that's all I have. So this is a week at a glance. So I have an extra space for overall week. If you don't want to make up your own, don't have the time, I totally understand. Because one of the benefits of weekly planning that we'll talk about is the time. But the Silk & Sonder is a monthly one that is basically a weekly planner. But they have two-page spreads. And the first one is your setup for your week, where you have some goals and such. This one is undated, but most of them are dated. This was a special edition, which I can link above if you wanted to see it. Okay. I just turned off all the lights because they were getting in my way. Anyways, we'll see if this is better. So they have, on the first one is your setup for the whole week. So you have certain goals, your habits. You can do meal planning or, food diary, how you want to feel, something, just so you have that. And then you have your actual week. Now, most of the time with these week spreads is Saturday and Sunday are at the end, so it's always a Monday start. And you can either be vertical like this or horizontal. That is how one of them looks. There's all kinds of versions. Now, what are the cons, the drawbacks? One is there is less space. So you see, this is all the space that you have for each day. Sometimes that's enough. For me lately, it's enough. But if you needed to, like I said, track a lot more stuff, or you want to journal something, this may not be enough. Number two, if you want to journal or do memory keeping, then you're going to need to have a separate book. Now, with the Silk & Sonders, they do have an extra 2-page spread. This is dot grid that you could use to do a little more journaling for the week. But if you want to do a daily journal, then that's not going to be enough for you. So it depends on how much you want to journal. And then number 3 drawback for the weekly is that this is not the best one for somebody with multiple schedules. So if you have your home and your kids and your work and maybe have your side hustle, this might not be enough spot to plan. May or may not. I mean, this is pretty generous page. Sometimes there are planners that you have like this much space. It just depends on which one you pick. Now let's get into the pros, 3 pros of weekly planning. Number 1, you have everything at a glance. And where you have your daily, you have to flip to see what you have each day. You have to flip a whole page each time. This, you just flip one page and you have your whole week at a glance. And I'm finding that I don't need the monthly calendar if I have the weekly, because it's enough for me. Everyone's different though. Number 2, this takes less time because there's less space to write in, of course. There's less detail that's needed. You can just look at this at a glance and not having to flip through everything and just say, okay, on Tuesday I'm going to run these errands, and Friday I'm going to run this errands, Wednesday I have to go to practice, whatever. So it's easy to just put them in all in one spot at a glance and not having to go, okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So there's some time savers. Number 3 pro, final pro, is that it's less likely to miss your to-dos on at a glance this way. If you have a to-do list, okay, so this was my to-do list here, and if I was in the middle of this, say I just got like a few things done, and then got called away, something happened, then I close my journal, and then I might not see that. I might not look back. And then I go to the next day, and then I do my to-dos for the next day, and I might forget what was here because I don't see it. Whereas if I do a weekly, I can say that Monday I didn't get my bathroom clean, so that's okay because I still see it's not crossed off. So I'm going to move it to Tuesday or Wednesday or the next day that I'm going to be home. So it's easier to see those. Plus, if you have a weekly setup like this, you can put like the things you need to clean. It can be really flexible. The things that you need to do this week, maybe you want to make sure you clean your bathroom. For me, it might be cleaning the coop, something like that. And I don't have to specifically assign them to a certain day. I can just say, okay, it's Wednesday. I have a little extra time on my hands. What do I need to do again? And I'll go, oh yeah, I need to clean the coop. So then I could just plug them in. There's a little more flexibility, which works really well for me with chronic issues. So if you are like me or have fluctuating energy and fluctuating body aches and stuff, or you just have a schedule where everything kind of so topsy-turvy, or it's not so strict and regimental. You might have a lot of different factors that pull into your schedule, where you might not be able to say every week on a Monday I do this, and Tuesday maybe, you know how those old kitchen towels were, where one day you do the laundry, one day you do the ironing, one day, yeah. So that if that's not you and you need that flexibility, this can really help, especially when you have these things here to say, during this week, this is what's going on. By the way, if you wanted to look into the silk and saunders, I really love these. I think they're nice, and they're nice and compact and small. Normally, the regular ones have a spiral bound. This was just, a different one that I have. It's really easy to slip into a bag or a purse, or slip under your arm. Of course, you can't see me slipping it under my arm, but I don't know why I did that. Easy to take with you to places. So I do have a discount code for you if you're interested in this for your first order. It does help me out a little bit, but it also actually helps you out a lot too by getting a subscription of 1 month, 3, 6, 12, whatever. Just so you know, it's available. Okay, so those are the pros and cons of the daily versus the weekly. And here's another thing. I used to do all 3 monthly, weekly, and daily. So you can do a combination. My weekly used to be my rough draft of the week, where I would do my forward planning, where maybe a few months ahead I would say, oh, that's right, on Wednesday I have a hair appointment, so I would write it in here, and then I would write, while I'm doing that, don't forget to do this, this, and this, so I could pre-plan my days that way. And then I would actually come to the day and write it all out again. But you need time to do that if you're going to do multiple calendars, multiple methods, and it's easy to have an appointment get lost between monthly, weekly, and daily because you're writing them 3 times. The more calendars you have, the more writing, the more time it takes. But you can. If you need to do more than one, that's perfectly fine. I've done that. The funny thing is that now that things are opening up again, I'm doing more, I'm not using as much calendars because I don't have the time. It's kind of ironic, but that's the way it goes. Another thing you could do is a lot of people have digital calendars, and then you could just put your important appointments on your digital calendar, and that could be your monthly or your weekly, and just do the daily or just do the weekly, whatever. So then you don't lose your calendar items. Then you have to remember that if you write a calendar item down, an appointment on your paper planner, you have to also remember to put it onto your digital. Juggling again. That is the pros and cons of weekly versus daily. Let me know, which one do you do? Do you do a combination? What do you do now? What do you like best? What are your pros and cons of each? I'd love to hear about that. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful for you. It's so nice to kind of get back into planning video, and to share a little bit more of my thoughts with you. And most of all, I hope you all have a joyful day. Goodbye.